welcome to the Deepers Creepers podcast, where we like to get high and talk about horror movies. I'm Casey.
I'm Jess.
And I'm Liesel.
My boyfriend's back and you're gonna be in trouble.
Hey now. My name is Zach. There it is.
Oh, okay.
Saved it.
It came
Saved
back around.
it.
It came back
Nailed
around.
it.
I didn't even realize I was setting him up for that. I just...
I wasn't going to give him anything.
Y'all, I am so tired, but we're going to get through this together.
It's going to make for a really fun episode.
I'm delirious and slap happy. So
Ditto. I think
let's do it.
Casey's the only one that has like natural energy right now.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, we're all a mess. Anyways, let's get into it.
I'm just high. Anyway, so today we are talking about Scream 6, which when this comes out, it will have come out the week before. So hopefully most people have had a chance to see it. I don't know what the box office numbers look like right now, but it's got to be
44 million
huge.
opening weekend.
Oh,
Nice.
amazing.
Yeah.
What was the budget?
Probably substantially more than that.
Probably.
But
It's got time.
44 million for a horror film.
Do you know if it's in the top 5 box office for the weekend?
Yeah, I think it's 2 or 3 right now.
Nice. Good. That's
At
awesome.
least. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it deserves it. We've got our Scream cups.
Yeah. Come on, AMC.
She's got one too.
I left mine at home.
I told
that's
you we
okay.
could go back.
But that's okay. Yes, we got these at AMC because we went to go see it opening night. We got a really awesome poster, like New York themed. It was so cool.
Really
It was
cool.
amazing.
Really, really cool.
So, obviously we've had Zach on so many freaking episodes now.
He's
love
our
it.
only, like,
four.
Our returning guest.
Yes,
Yeah.
but we love it. He's so fucking funny. We are back in the Screamiverse this week, of course.
One of my favorite places to be.
Yes, just a few. Oh, it's home. It's absolutely home to me.
Yes.
Just a few weeks ago, we covered the first 5 in preparation for this, and wow, nothing could have prepared me for this.
Yeah.
Just
Agreed. Oh
my God.
honestly. So we're gonna go through a little spoiler-free section here up top. Just kind of our initial thoughts from 3 legitimate Scream heads. Like, we love this franchise. So obviously, our views, our opinions might be a little bit biased because we do love this franchise. If you don't like this franchise, you might not like this movie. I don't know. But we'll let you know when spoilers start. So, initial thoughts, feelings. I loved it.
I loved it. I thought in horror movies, there's usually a moment to breathe. You get a sweet little happy family moment. I feel like we didn't get more than like maybe 2 minutes of that throughout this entire movie. Like, I felt start to finish, I was like in an anxiety attack mode, like the entire movie. And I took my medication, okay? I was there. Yeah. But my heart, I looked at Casey, I was like, I can't breathe.
Oh my God.
And that was like 10 minutes in. I was like, I don't know what's happening.
I recently doubled my dosage, and I was still like 5 alarm anxious the entire time.
That part.
It was, yeah.
And I feel like one thing I will say is a lot of the complaints that people had about 5, I feel like Radio Silence, who made this movie, and the 5th one really took that into consideration. And just really, really tense scenes. Very meta, obviously. I mean, the whole franchise is
brutal.
Definitely.
Oh
This is one of the
God.
scariest I've seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of moments of reprieve. It's a lot of very tense chase scenes. And being this late in a franchise like this, you know no one's safe. Like, we saw 5.
Yeah.
After Dewey's gone, you're like, well...
Literally anything.
Let me just
can
prepare
happen.
to cry.
Yeah.
Which I think we all maybe teared up or cried in this movie. And
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
I gasped. I did a lot of this. I fucking said, Jesus fucking Christ. I can't tell you how many times. Out loud, vocally, in the theater.
I still have 5 fingernail marks in my kneecap from Jess.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know her.
It was rough.
Yeah.
Zach had his seat reclined and his feet all tucked up. Don't let him fool you. That's why my hand was in his knee.
No, I had my knees to my chest and I was like rocking.
I was trying to comfort him. That's why I was doing that.
We had a huge group. We had basically one whole back right corner of one of the AMC theaters. And I know we were the loudest bitches of all time, but I feel like we made the movie better. Like because I saw it 2 times. I saw it with them. Couldn't take notes. So I had to see it again on Sunday. We saw it opening night on Thursday. I saw it again on Sunday so I could take notes. And there were little reactions in the theater, but I feel like even beyond us, like I feel like our theater got some good reactions.
Mm-hmm.
The one upside was that there were 2 teen girls right next to Jeff who were watching through their fingers during the previews. I thought one of them was gonna cry during the Evil Dead preview.
Oh, Jesus!
They were like, "Oh God," the whole time. But even then, like, I feel like maybe because it was a Sunday afternoon, it was a matinee, so it wasn't like a lot of hardcore fans,
right?
But opening night, of course, we're gonna have a lot of those.
Yeah. And I feel like if you're seeing a movie opening weekend, you have to have some sort of care about it in the franchise. So I mean, after the 5th one, I'm surprised that they, especially with the Scream franchise, where they're always, going on about how the next sequel has to be bigger and better and more death count, like why they didn't expect that. But, it's everybody has their different reactions to the movies. And I think they're all fun and they're all valid. So I'm glad that they had that time. Because I went and saw movies like that when I was younger. Like I remember, like I said, seeing The Grudge with my papa and making him hold my hand the whole time.
I remember seeing Red Eye and I was like, oh my God, I'm never getting on a plane. Wes Craven. Again, love him.
We love him.
But yeah, I mean, there is no other franchise like this. There are other horror franchises, but not one that is this much of a family, that is this cohesive, except for maybe the Child's Play series, because that literally does involve a lot of family members.
Right.
Brad Dourif and his daughter. But, this is, I don't know. It knows what it's doing every step of the way, and constantly surprises me. I know people out there, and I know that my best friend Katie, her husband, guessed Ghostface, I guess. He's really good at that stuff, and I know a lot of people say that they guessed. Not for one fucking second did I know who it was.
I thought I did.
I'm not going to spoil any of it. Did not know for a goddamn second until it was revealed. They had me the entire time.
I mean, I looked at Casey at one point and I was like, that might be them.
Yeah.
But then later I thought it was a different one.
Yeah.
My first guess, I think, was right. But my ending guess was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like...
the red herrings.
Yeah, there were like at least 3 red herrings.
That's what a lot of this franchise is,
including the actual killer was a fake red herring.
They all are.
And I was like, God
damn
it.
They kind of all are, but
they got me again.
That's the point of these. Like, these are the best whodunit movies you can watch.
Oh, they really are.
If you don't know who Ghostface is in any of these, this is the best whodunit you could possibly ask for.
Yeah.
Like, it just is. It is always a satisfying killer, even number 3, Buck Roman Bridger, but still, it's better than it... I don't know. It's better than it being Roy in a Jason mask. I don't know. I hate that fucking movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I love Friday, but... Anyway, anybody have any, thoughts they want to say before spoiler-free is over?
Courtney Cox is back in her villain era.
Yes, she is.
Love it.
Yes. She looks great. She really does.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's
just back to the bitchy reporter that we all know and love. And I just, I love that.
The whole cast does amazing. Again, all the returning people, all the new people.
They truly make you fall in love, even more with these people that we were introduced to in the last movie.
There's one particular new character that I was like, oh, I love you so much. And in this franchise, unfortunately, that means bad things for you.
Yeah.
So I was kind of devastated. But please go see it. I mean, we are the podcast that will always tell you, go watch the movie first, for most of them. But if you go into our videos and you watch the spoiler-free before you go see it to see if it's worthwhile, we would much rather you stop the video, go see the movie, come back to us. We don't want to inform your opinion. We want to tell you our opinions, but, I want people to have their own opinion when they come in here. And you guys can have healthy debates in the comments if you'd like.
Absolutely.
So, anyway.
Perfect.
I'm gonna let my sleeve little. Alright, spoiler free is over. We are gonna ruin the movie. This is the movie that, like, if it gets ruined, that's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
God damn it.
So, first, I will say, when we first saw this, I started to take notes, and I will tell you the point in the movie that I got to when I stopped taking notes. About 6 minutes in. I threw down my notebook and couldn't look away, so that's why I had to go back.
Yeah.
And watch it again. So, I kind of have the layout to kind of keep the whole storyline, the plot in order. But we're kind of just gonna go through our thoughts. So, I'll try to keep these two in line.
Listen.
Good luck.
So, this opener.
Whoo! This cold open, bitch.
Who wants to start?
God.
Thank God damn Drew Barrymore'd us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I was gagged.
I was gagged.
I have chills.
Yeah.
So, obviously
Talk
in the
about it.
earlier episodes, Zach announced to us, because we didn't know, that Samara Weaving was in this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was so excited for Samara Weaving. And, yeah, she is our Drew Barrymore. She's our
Well, she's not my daughter, but
No. She's our Cotton Weary. She's our Jada Pinkett Smith. She is the huge actress that is our first girl that you're like, oh my God, they're in this.
Oh.
Because, yeah, obviously, spoiler, she's the first kill in the movie.
Of course,
And
it
she
has to
gets
be that.
slaughtered.
Oh, she gets
She gets
destroyed.
stabbed like 17 times. It's wild.
She gets to use her Australian accent for the first fucking time.
I was
though.
really excited to hear that.
Me
I
too.
was like, okay, girl.
And she looked, her dress,
Mhm.
She
whoever
looked
picked out that
absolutely
dress, like,
sickening.
it looked so good on her.
Well, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but the color of the dress was an homage to the sweater that Casey Becker wore in the first one.
Oh,
It's
no,
like-
I didn't realize.
it's like the same
yeah,
hue.
and it's
And she's got the same kind of like golden blonde hair that Drew did.
I love
I didn't
that.
even
So-
catch
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that was like a full circle moment.
Right.
Okay,
To
I
say,
love
like,
it.
you know, thank you for all
Right.
that you do.
Yeah, for like
Aw.
making this what it was.
Yeah.
I mean,
Amazing.
obviously. So yeah, she is like on the phone. It starts with a phone call, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a restaurant phone.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
she was waiting for a date.
Yes,
Like
and
a
she's
Hinge
texting,
date
so
or
he calls her,
something.
but the initial phone ringing, that of course all of them start with the ringing of a phone. This is a restaurant phone. We're in a restaurant and like a hostess picks it up, and I was
Mhm.
like, okay, that's kind of like
Yeah.
different.
It was cool.
And
It was
yeah,
really
she's waiting
cool.
for a date. This guy like lures her outside basically.
It's important to note that she is talking to this guy as she's being lured outside, and she is a film professor.
Mhm.
Yes. She does her little spiel of
Theory,
like,
film theory.
yeah, she's teaching 20th century slashers, which I would take that class in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we would be the best students.
I also wrote, like, if I had a professor that hot,
Mhm.
there would have been a scandal. Just
that
saying.
part.
Trust. Yeah.
I would have lost a lot of scholarships, if you know what I mean.
Understood.
But I this intro is very, very interesting. So we get her down the alley,
Mm-hmm.
and it changes to the voice of Scream, Roger L. Jackson,
The best.
who, I mean, now he is the only one other than Courtney Cox who's
That's
been in
been in
every
every
single
single one.
Scream movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I mentioned this in the first, the part 1 and part 2 of Screams, that Roger L. Jackson, those are not done in post-production. The directors typically, and Wes never did, and I know for the 5th one, I'm not sure for the 6th one, they don't let him meet the actors. So
Right.
Roger L. Jackson is on a phone actually talking to them while they're filming the scene, but he's not on set with them.
Right.
So it kind of like keeps that anonymity and
That's
like
really cool.
his voice. Let me tell you. Okay, here's a little story. Saturday night, I am watching my best friend's baby. And I get a call, and the name literally says Ghostface. And I answer my phone, and Roger L. Jackson's actual fucking voice says my name, says something about running, and then goes, go! and just hangs up, and I almost dropped my goddamn phone. I nearly shit my pants.
She did drop the baby, though.
He was walking. He's fine. He's okay now. They were able to fix that dent. Taylor, please don't kill me. He's fine. I promise nothing happened. But anyway, it scared the bejesus out of me. And I could listen to his voice for hours. Truly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Caitlin pranked me. Because she's like, answer your phone. And I was at work. And I went in the back brewery and I answered. And Ghostface was like, because mine didn't say Ghostface. It just said from New York. And so I answered it and it's like, you smell differently, like when you're alone and you're afraid. But I have one question for you, Jess. Guess where I'm hiding. Click. I have chills and I was like, oh, ah! And I was like, oh, I gotta get Casey.
yeah, mine actually said Ghostface. I was like,
And
oh
like,
God. He was
So
like,
it's-
I'll give you 10 seconds. And then he yelled, run, and then hung up. And I was like,
Yeah.
it's super fun. So Caitlin sent me the website where you put in your name or whoever's name and then their phone number, and it'll call Ghostface.
I'll post it underneath this video. You can prank all your friends.
Yeah, I tried to call it back,
I'm
and
gonna
he
do
said,
that.
that's not how this works. He's like, I called you, and then hung up on me.
I didn't try to call him back. I was too scared.
Oh.
I was like, oh, sorry, Ghostface. Sorry, sir.
I love that.
It was so fun, though. Ronnie and I, my coworker, we literally spent like 30 minutes ignoring the guests at the bar and like calling, like having
They'll be
Ghostface
fine.
call all our friends.
Right.
You were the first person I called, though. 100%.
So, Samara Weaving is in this alley. She gets murdered. Okay. So in 5, obviously every movie, especially in this franchise, they're trying to one-up themselves. They're trying to subvert the expected. They're trying to surprise you in some way or another. So, in 5, obviously they subverted our expectations by letting Tara live.
Yeah.
Our opening kill was not a kill.
Right.
So, Zach, tell me what subverted the fuck out of all of our expectations in this movie.
Okay, so, like, immediately after Ghostface stabs Samara Weaving to death, he crouches down and looks her dead in the eye and then takes his mask off. Like, 2 minutes into the movie, Ghostface is revealed. And all 3 of us just went...
Like, leaned forward and looked at each other like...
like, it broke us. It broke our brains.
Like-
it was like you could hear a pin drop.
Yeah,
Oh my
seriously.
It was
God,
fucking wild.
I literally have chills. Like, I feel like I'm gonna have chills this entire time
Yes.
we're talking about this.
It was, I mean, how do you do that? That
Yeah.
felt like you were breaking every rule.
Mhm.
It felt illegal.
In the
Like,
best
that's not
way.
something I should be seeing. Like, you put the end of the movie
Put it back
on
on.
the
Yeah.
Put it
beginning
back
of the
on.
movie.
Yeah.
Like, like
Yeah.
no, I didn't see it. And, yeah, so he, like, walks away, goes back to his apartment. It's some college kid.
Throws some shit, like throws like the costume in the dumpster, but keeps the mask.
Oh my god!
I'm glad I wasn't drinking my coffee.
Oh my god!
Wow. Narrow encounter with Ghostface.
Did you tell him to do that?
That was for you, but it also scared the shit out of
It
me.
just scared me too. We knew it was coming. We just
Oh
didn't know
my
when.
god!
That was 100% Jeff's idea.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
He is so proud of himself right now.
I mean, he should be.
Oh, God, that was good.
I want to be pissed, but I can't.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna have some audio to, Ooh.
For those just listening and not watching,
Yeah.
Jeff just came in dressed as Ghostface.
Full ghost face.
Full Ghostface and scared the
Oh
shit.
my
With the knife,
God.
and he had gloves on. Please go watch it on YouTube. Just that
Oh
part.
my God.
Oh, that was good.
Oh, we should make that a reel.
Oh, yeah, no,
Oh my god. I thought, well, this is how I go.
This is it. This is how I die.
Oh, man.
You would get your notebook.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Did
threw
anybody
it.
lose anything other
That's-
than their virginity?
No, just that.
I just threw the notebook in the
And
hat.
water.
This is why I told you I'd be the first to die in a scary movie
Yeah.
situation. You saw what happened, right?
Oh, yeah. He
Didn't try to run, didn't try to
Fainting
fight
goat.
back.
Just
fell to the ground.
let it happen.
Just like,
He's a fainting goat.
this might as well be happening.
And I told Jeff that. He was very excited, so.
Oh my god, amazing.
Okay,
All
let's
right,
do
and this is
this.
why I needed to make sure I had the plot going. So yes, on the way back to our ghost face that we know, immediately
Yeah.
he spots Tara. He knows Tara. They apparently go to school together.
Yeah, they have a little exchange. And
Yes.
I was
She
like,
looks cute in her little pirate costume.
She's a
Mhm.
pirate. And so he goes back to his apartment, puts away his mask that now has Samara Weaving's blood all over it, and promptly gets a call from Ghostface.
yeah.
As you do.
Yeah.
But the weird part about it was when he was putting his mask in the closet is there were other mannequin heads with other masks in there. It was like a weird little shrine in his closet.
Yeah. It was...
But...
It was really, yeah. It was insane because I didn't know where it was going, and I genuinely thought that they were going to let him, like, carry on this relationship with Tara and the group.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh my god, are they really about to...
Oh my god.
tell us the killer immediately and then watch, like, which would have been very cool if they had done that. I kind of, a part of me wishes they had.
That's what Robert said as soon as we left.
Yeah.
And yeah, a part of me does...
Robert is my husband, Drew Barrymore's stepfather.
Yes.
And
with a lot of wrong opinions.
Listen,
I'm just kidding, Robert.
Yeah, Robert did not like Scream 6. That's why he's not doing this podcast.
Whatever, he's just catty, okay? I love you, please don't hate me.
Cute and catty.
He's precious, and if you're listening, Taylor absolutely adored you, so. But anyway, so he gets this call from Ghostface. He thinks it's his roommate who, we gather, they were gonna do this together. They're both psychos.
Yeah.
They killed, then that was their film professor.
Yes.
That he murdered, we find out.
Yep.
Yes, we get a Giallo call out. Of course, I mean, this has been the franchise for calling out horror tropes, movies, actors, you know, Jamie Lee, all that. And yeah, he's like, something, my Giallo paper. And I was like, oh, this movie is for horror fans that Leo meme. That, oh, I know that. That's what these movies are.
Yeah, and
Basically.
there's
Oh, I know
just
that's
so many little Easter eggs from other movies that I loved seeing unfold.
Yes.
It was so fun.
One of my favorite little, like, winks to the audience, to horror fans, was that I can't remember his character's name, but the guy who kills Samara Weaving, after he slaughters her, he gets back to his apartment. Jason. Of course it is. Because when he gets back to his apartment, he's watching TV and he's watching Friday the 13th 8, Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I recognized it immediately because I loved that one so much.
Knock his block off.
Yeah. And like that's what Scream 6 was getting compared to, like, straight out the gate, was Jason Takes Manhattan. Because they moved it from Woodsboro to New York.
It's Ghostface Takes Manhattan.
Yeah. And
if the last 20 minutes had taken place in New York, it would be Ghostface Takes Manhattan, okay?
Right.
Let's be honest about that franchise.
Yes.
He was on a boat for most of that.
Right, but, you know, they put him on a train this time. They put him on the subway. And if you watch it and are trying to figure out what parts of New York they shot it in, the answer is Toronto.
The Toronto area of
New York.
And that's
my favorite.
It looks...
Upper New York.
Toronto can be LA. Vancouver can be LA. Toronto cannot be New York for anyone that's been to New York. Like,
Right.
as I was watching it, that's on my con list.
I
I'm
agree.
like-
It did not feel.
I wrote in
New
all
York.
caps, Toronto looks nothing like New
It
York.
did not feel New York. The one scene that almost felt New York was the bodega scene.
Mhm.
The bodega scene for sure.
That was the only thing that
and
was
the
like,
subway,
okay,
but I mean
we're-
that could be anywhere.
But even then, yeah.
But even then, that bodega was way too clean.
That's
Like,
true.
those floors were sparkling.
I heard no.
Yeah, right? No one
When-
was sticking to the
When
floor.
Ghostface was walking around, it wasn't a.
Also, if they were going for realism, there should have been a cat in the bodega. And there was not.
But then they would have had to kill the cat, and Scream doesn't do that.
They don't.
Halloween kills dogs.
Yeah.
Michael eats dogs.
Ugh.
Anyway, if anyone wonders why I'm looking at this phone, it's because I look at the cast, motherfuckers. I'm paying attention.
I don't think that they care.
I don't think anyone's coming for you.
Why not? I'm
Or
hot.
on you.
I'm hot. Why not? Anyway, one of my other favorite Easter eggs in this is, of course, our Jason guy that was our original Ghostface gets killed by our actual Ghostface of the movie.
Yeah.
One of them. Spoiler.
Ah.
And while he's on the phone with our actual Ghostface, we get a let's play a game, and I wanted to be like, wrong franchise!
Yeah.
But also, I love that one too!
Oh my god. And I'll just throw it out there, like, my favorite little, like, nod to horror that I remember seeing was when they're, like, in the subway later in the movie, and they're, like, it's, like, Halloween time, so there are costumes everywhere, and you just look towards the back of the subway, and there's the Babadook,
Yeah.
and it's just, who's a gay icon.
I'm gonna be honest.
He's got
right
that
now.
Babadonk.
I have,
Ooh.
where is it?
Who else was,
I have an entire list of all because I
the
saw it
people
twice.
on the...
I wrote down every single horror Easter egg that I saw on the
Ooh,
train.
love it. I
So
can't
we'll
wait
go
to hear
through
that.
those. Yeah, I went.
Because it's
like-
so, like, you can't focus on everything.
And since I had seen it before, I was only looking in the background during that scene.
Hell yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, I got, there's 15 on here. But anyway, that's later. For now, we cut to Sam, who is our protagonist, of course. She was our protagonist in 5. Little difference here, she's got a personality.
She's not as insufferable.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel for her.
I do.
Yeah.
I do in this movie, for
Between
sure.
the events of movies, everyone online, or a bunch of incels online, decided, actually, Sam killed all those people and covered it up. Sam's the murderer.
Or she was the mastermind behind everything.
Yeah. So, there are a lot of people, and I know this shit happens in real life, who will, go up to her and be mean to her in
And
public.
believes
Somebody
everything on the
throws
internet.
a drink on her.
Yeah.
She's
like,
she thinks she's
You got
crazy.
a fucking problem with me, bitch? And I was like, I was at the same goddamn fucking thing. I felt like I was in that scene.
Yeah.
This was after Sam goes to a frat party. So when we get to, let's see, after
Or
so after
Scream.
so we get to Sam at her therapist. Her therapist is like, listen, I'm not gonna be your therapist because you're fucking crazy. And she's like,
This is what I get for opening up.
okay, bye. So then
Yeah.
we're at this frat party with Tara and, of course, Chad and Mindy, the twins.
Love them.
Mason Gooding and Jasmine Savoy Brown had to call them both out because, wow,
Mhm.
they are both so incredible.
They're charming. They're funny. They're smart
gorgeous.
characters.
Everyone loved Mindy in 5.
Mhm.
Obviously, she was the standout character in that movie. She was our Randy. She was our first openly gay character. And
She
I
was our
feel like
Kirby.
I feel like Chad was pretty easy to overlook. He's an alpha male named Chad. Yes, that's a joke later in the movie. But, I feel like he was given more of a personality, and, you can really see, he's an actual genuine person.
Yeah.
He's not just your regular jock. They gave depth to a character that, in most slashers, would be so superficial.
Yeah.
Because he's so attractive, he's so buff, he's a
Mhm.
jock, but he's obviously smart, he's caring, he, when the first thing we see him in this movie, we see him with newcomer Ethan Landry, and he's hyping him up. He's like, you're a whole ass snack, you need to go get that girl. I feel like his performance in this, I felt
genuine.
Chad so much more.
I felt like with the events of Scream 5, and obviously that takes a toll on a person, but in Scream 5, like he lived a very charmed life.
Yeah.
He was gorgeous. He had great friends. He kind of like ran the school.
Hot
he had
girlfriend.
Yeah, he had the kind of confidence that you like only have when you're 18 and hot. And
like to the point where some obviously insane guy pulls up in a car and he's like just like puffing out his muscles, like when that creepy guy in 5 comes up.
And he's
like he does have all the confidence. Yeah.
And then he was almost murdered, and it softened him a bit.
A little bit.
It made him a real like live, laugh, love kind of Chad.
Yeah, and he is so goofy in this. Like I feel like they really let his character like let go.
Yeah,
and it does make sense after you go through something like life changing that you're gonna change. And yeah, I love the core 4.
The core
4.
Oh.
Well, I personally have a huge love for his character, specifically because early on in the movie, you know, like we said, Sam is leaving her therapist. She gets back to the apartment, and their roommate, Quinn, who is a new character we get introduced to.
Liana Liberato.
She lets Sam know that, you know, Jenna Ortega's character went to that fucking frat party she said she wasn't going to go to. And so Sam's like, I gotta go get her, even though, you know.
Call out for Quinn. I like her face a lot. Mm-hmm. She has that, like, super round baby face that I have that you don't see in movies that often. Yeah. Because you have to have some kind of bone structure, and I don't. And it's all behind my fat. Anyway,
well,
but I really like her face. I wanted to call that out. So go ahead.
She does have a cute face. But we get to the frat party, and we see Tara's character intoxicated, having a good time, flirting with this guy. Frankie. She's clearly fucked up, though, and he tries to lead her up.
He's like, I got some Fireball up in my room. I'm trying to, like, right now, if you have ever been a girl at a frat party,
do not go.
Don't go, and I've been there,
also,
man.
Don't drink Fireball.
That part.
That's the best advice we've given on this podcast.
Yeah, and so that's when Sam comes in, Tara's pissed off, and Chad's there too.
They go grab Chad, and Chad's like, no, come on, like, you're not taking her upstairs, and they go to get into a fight.
And Sam comes in, and she's like, I'm gonna tase you in the nuts now.
Yeah.
It was so calm. She's like, hey, sorry, I'm just going to tase you in the nuts real quick. Boom. And of course,
and Chad was recording. Chad was not having that man. Because she was, like, yanking her up the stairs at that point. And we were all like...
And of course, okay, I have been on both sides of that. I have been the girl that's gone upstairs. Never fun. And I have been the friend that has refused to let the girl go up the stairs. Mm-hmm. And no matter... And, like, when I've done it in the past, I rarely have friends go against me. They're like, I'm just gonna go with Casey. But even if I had a friend like Tara that was trying to argue with me, you can punch me in the face, you can scratch me, I don't care. You can fight, you can hate me tomorrow, you can hate me next week, I don't care. I'm not letting you go up those stairs.
Oh, like 100%.
And a lot of people don't have friend groups like that, but like this has been a franchise where you want a group like that. Mm-hmm. But we rarely get it, because one of them always ends up being the fucking killer.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in this case, it gives a true meaning to, like, ride or die, you know?
Like, they really are, like, as soon as they see her going up the stairs, even the new girl, Annika, who, I love her, that was the one I was talking about.
I love Annika.
Annika's amazing. She is Mindy's new girlfriend. As soon as she sees Tara with this guy, she walks up. They go get Chad. Chad won't let her go up. It just... Like I said, every movie you think, oh, this is a great friend group. Oh, no, this is a great friend group. What the fuck? Why can't Cindy or anybody else have a friend?
But yeah, Tara got very lucky with this group of friends. And I think they, unfortunately trauma bonded. And it made them closer. And the fact that they all moved to New York together to, pursue their life interests together. I'm super happy that they stayed together because... I really love that they gave us the opportunity to fall in love with new characters, and we absolutely did.
Mm-hmm. And it's also very reminiscent of Scream 2, when
they're
Sydney
in college.
And Randy both go to Windsor College in Ohio, and then Gail and Dewey end up there after the murders, and it was
I could write an entire thesis paper about how this is a remake of Scream 2 in the best way.
Oh, yeah.
This is literally the Scream 2 we deserved, almost. Even though I love Scream 2, it is basically perfect.
Choose your next words
wisely.
wisely.
But there were a few things about... No, I'm not saying this is not... I'm not saying Scream 6 is better than Scream 2, because I don't think I believe that.
And I just go home.
Yeah, well,
right now.
But... The things about Scream 2 that we wanted to happen but couldn't because of script leaks and things,
right?
They fan serviced in this, and I was like, yes.
Yeah, it was essentially in the way that Jennifer's Body is basically a remake of Heather's. Scream 6 is basically a remake of Scream 2.
Yeah,
and that's why I was so fucking here for Scream 6.
So here for it.
I loved it.
I said Scream 5 was my favorite sequel last time. I may love this one more than Scream 5.
I think I might love it more than 4. It might take my second spot under the original.
I'd have to watch it a few more times.
Now, it's not without fault. I've definitely got a long list of cons here.
Yep.
But that being said, I definitely liked 6 more than 5.
100%.
And I liked Scream 6 more and more the longer I thought about it. Like, as I was writing these notes and as I was remembering things. Because they throw so much at you for your brain to process. It's only a 2-hour movie, but they throw so much shit at you in those 2 hours that by the time I finally decompress, I'm like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Oh my God, the whole ride home, I was like...
Oh, yeah.
I was totally happy to see it again on Sunday. Because I was looking for all the things that, like, I missed the first time, or, like, looking for little things since I knew the ending, and just...
Yeah, I can't wait to see it again and just focus on background and little clues and Easter eggs because, I think, like you said, there was only like 2 minutes to breathe during that entire 2 hours.
Yeah.
They ratcheted up the terror and the intrigue so much. I was smitten.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, that party is kind of really some of the only, and obviously it's dramatic and it's, it's still a tense scene in the sense that you're like, oh God, Tara, don't go up those stairs. But it's one of the only reprieves that we have since it's so early in the movie, because then after this, they find out about the Ghostface killings from earlier in the night, the 2 college kids, who I guess the cops just... killed their professor right before. They somehow figured that out real fucking fast. But anyway, and of course, Tara and Sam are both like, let's get the fuck out of here. Well, Sam is like, let's get out of here. And Quinn's dad, I guess, is a detective, so he calls them and says, okay, well, Sam, I found your ID at the scene of the crime. I need you to come down to the station. And from this point on, it's pretty much nonstop.
Yeah.
Because when they're walking, Tara and Sam are walking to the police station together, and they get a call. And on Tara's phone, on Sam's phone, it says Richie Kirsch, which was our Ghostface for the last movie, obviously. It is dead. But she never deleted his contact, so it comes up as a call from him. Obviously, it's our Ghostface. And they get attacked, and this is when they run into the bodega, and if you've seen the trailers, I thought it would kind of ruin it, seeing part of it in the trailers. No. This was one of my favorite scenes
stressful.
In the movie. The set piece was so cool, and
so good.
The silent escape. That's my sweet spot, when someone is trying to evade a killer and they have to be silent.
Because there's no other, sounds in the room. There's glass everywhere, so...
Ghostface has already killed all of the patrons and the guy who works at the bodega.
Anybody who didn't run out.
And he got a fucking shotgun. He took the shotgun from the clerk.
And shot him
in the face. And then Ghostface has a shotgun. Never happened before.
Ghostface has a shotgun. And you're in a tiny enclosed area
with one exit because the back door is locked.
Mm-hmm.
That was terrifying.
Yeah.
I literally, I don't think I took, like I said, one breath
Yeah.
I like held my breath. I felt like I was going to pass out that entire scene.
And of
It
course
was
they're
so
like crawling,
tense.
and in like classic horror movie tropes, there's the crunch of broken glass, and Ghostface hears it, but they kind of turned it on its head, and they got away in like true final girl fashion.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
sisters are doing it for themselves.
They push over the thing on him, and then as soon as they run out, the cops are there, so they know that, and you can see the look on both of their faces when they turn back around. They know he's going to be gone because the cops are there, and he is, because he got the keys.
But he left his mask as a calling card.
Yes, not the one he was wearing, as the girls say. That's not the one he was wearing, but he left a mask. And
whose mask was it?
well, the first one they found, they're still running the DNA on that one. When the girls finally get to the police station, there was a mask left at the very first scene with the two college kids. And it was Richie Kirsch's mask, which was Ghostface from Scream 5. Our Ghostface is 8 and 9, because they're, as we talk about in this movie, 9 Ghostfaces up till this movie. We obviously had Billy and Stu, and then we had Mrs. Loomis and Mickey, Roman Bridger as our solo, and then Richie and Amber. Is that 9? And
Charlie and
yes,
Jill, yeah.
Yeah, Jill and Charlie, yep. And this is also when Kirby comes back.
And can we say she looks fucking
stunning,
amazing?
Yeah.
I think we all were like, Kirby!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were losing our minds. I was like punching the air when she showed up.
Yeah, I was like kicking my feet. Like, I was so fucking excited. She looks amazing. She is the Kirby that we absolutely deserve.
Oh, 100%.
She's in the FBI now because, of course.
She's like a hardened detective
Bad
with the
bitch.
FBI.
Doesn't take no shit.
Which absolutely tracks.
Oh, yeah.
She wears all black, which I really respect.
She's wearing a black leather jacket.
Yeah, she
Looking
looks
hot.
very New York.
Yes.
She looks like a New Yorker, for sure.
Even though she was coming from Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yes.
Still.
Oh my God, shut up.
So-
she was from Atlanta.
She was.
Go fuck yourself.
Okay.
All right.
Not on camera for free.
So, this is kind of, even though we're in the middle of it all, this is also when we're getting our legacies back, of course, because we get Kirby. Right after that, they walk out, and there's a bunch of press around. You see a crowd of press. Who's gonna be there? Gail Weathers. And yeah, she is in her villain era. Remember how at the end of Scream 5, she was like, "I'm not gonna write a book about this. Maybe I'll write a book about Dewey." Jess, what did she do?
Wrote a book about the murders.
But she's like, "It's what I do." She calls back to her line from the first one.
Yeah.
She says somebody was gonna write about it. Literally what she says to Sydney in the first movie.
Yeah.
And she's like, "It's what I do." And you're right. It is what you do, Gail. You are so right. And of course, Sam tries to punch her and she dodges it. And we were all like, "Oh, shit."
And she's like,
What the
"Not my
fuck?"
first rodeo." And as she's finishing the sentence, Tara punched her right in the fucking face.
Yeah.
I was gagged. I loved it.
It was
2
wonderful.
times in a row, they got me. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, "Oh, she dodged it. Oh, shit, Tara got her."
It was so good.
And then later on, we get that Tara's like, "Sorry, I punched you." And she goes, "No, you're not."
She's
She
like,
says,
"I'm not." I fucking love that we got to see more of Jenna Ortega.
Oh, absolutely.
I was really hoping
and she
for
looks
that.
incredible.
She's so...
I love her bangs in this movie.
And her little freckles.
Yes, she is the cutest.
She looks
And we've got
wonderful.
this whole sexual tension between her and Chad for the whole movie. Totally ship those two because they're great.
Well, and it's very Sydney and Randy, except they
finally get together.
genuinely like each other, and it's requited. And
Oh my god, what if we would have gotten a Sydney Randy? Even though I obviously love Mark. But still. Randy had to die in the second one.
Yeah.
He did.
Someone had to. One of the legacies did. And it might as well be Randy.
It couldn't, at that early,
At that,
it
it
couldn't
couldn't
have
be
been
Dewey.
Dewey. And
No.
But anyway, So, anyway, this is, we called it out last time. We said, we know Nev Campbell's not going to be in this. If we get a mention of Sydney, we do this, and it's the perfect kind. They say, Sydney's not coming here, is she? And Gail says, no, she took Mark and the kids somewhere safe. She deserves her a happy ending. 100% agree.
Yeah.
Sydney does. I want her to come back in 7, but she deserves a lot of money for it. So don't try to underpay her next time.
That's
guys.
what I'm saying. If they can give her an appropriate offer, even if she's only in 7 for like 5 minutes, because they just greenlit 7. They're going to start filming soon.
Yeah,
which we all knew was going to happen.
Of course,
it's going to be Radio Silence's trilogy.
Absolutely,
they weren't going to just do 2.
No.
Also, speaking of Radio Silence, did you notice that Sam's therapist was played by the guy who played the patriarch in Ready or Not?
Yes! Oh my god, and I loved him in that movie. But he's got that big beard on.
Exactly. That's why I didn't notice him at first, but then the whole time I'm like, who the fuck is that? And then it
and
hit
here's
me.
The thing, the whole therapist subplot, you could do away with it. It goes nowhere.
Yeah.
The only thing that is cool out of it is he gets stabbed in the face.
Yeah, he gets stabbed in the nose.
Is
and
fucking...
like,
I said, oh god.
Door,
through and somebody says later, they're like, got stabbed through the fucking nose.
Yeah. So that's the only good thing about it. It could be...
I'm sorry.
Anyway, no, you go ahead.
I was just going to say the whole point, I think, of having the whole therapist situation was whoever our Ghostface is in this movie, or Ghostface plural, is really trying to, like, reaffirm, like, what the internet is saying and that the killer is Sam. So the whole movie is pointing us to make, like, everybody is thinking Sam is the killer. Like, we as the audience know that that's... I mean, we don't see that as the case because we see all these things unfolding that,
a lot of it's from Sam's perspective.
Yeah, and so that's, I think, the therapist, said he had to report the things she was saying, even though she was just like, it felt right, like, talking about killing the bad people. And I'm like, if someone, like, tried to kill my family, I'd kill him, and I'd say it felt right, too. Like, I don't think that's, I mean...
Yeah, I thought
obviously, probably normal people don't say that, but I'm not...
I thought they were leaning a little too heavily on that whole, like, if I think you're going to harm yourself or others, I have to report it to the cops.
Yeah.
My therapist would never... if I just said that.
I was like, she was saying that her boyfriend, who tried to kill her, like...
did kill a bunch of people.
When she ultimately killed him in self-defense, it felt really fucking good.
But she is struggling so hard with that feeling, because most of us would be like, yeah, no, that was fine. He deserved it. Mm-hmm. She struggles so much with it because she already struggles with the fact that her dad was a serial killer, and she's got this thing where she sees him. She's got some kind of mental hold that, she's going to struggle with that a little more. Right. But I just...
Quit your fucking job if you literally talk to someone for 3 minutes and you're like, ooh, I can't handle that. Like,
so
you're not a good therapist.
That
sir.
subplot
you deserve
really
that stab in the nose.
Could have just kind of gone by the wayside for me.
I agree.
Another, even though he's super hot, another subplot that could have gone by the wayside. Danny, Tara's new boyfriend. He's super hot, and
I liked him.
I do like the scene
that.
So we do get a scene. We'll just go ahead and talk about it now. I don't want to know when it happens. They get back to the apartment and Ghostface starts attacking. He kills Quinn, and is attacking them in the apartment, and they're in the bedroom trying to get out, and they're locked in the bedroom, and they get a ladder across, because they're like right across from each other. So from window to window, they get a ladder across, and they're crawling. And that is such an amazing scene. You are so tense the whole time. It's a chase scene in a... Okay, first of all, we got so many more chase scenes in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Which was missing from 5. And there's so many good ones in this. This being one of them. But I mean, how often do you see them hanging, 4 stories in the air on a ladder going across, and it just... they only go on across one by one because it's not that, sturdy, and they're waiting, and Annika has been stabbed
several times.
And it's
like
twisted,
bleeding.
and
she's like holding herself and trying not to bleed out while crawling on a ladder.
Oh my god,
and just really killed it. But here's the thing. I wrote that, like, I didn't care if Annika died because she had been on screen for 20 seconds.
Exactly.
There was no development.
I liked her for the fact that she was cute and she was dating. Yeah, and she was dating.
Yeah, I liked that she was Mindy's girlfriend. Like,
and that was what was sad about it, was Mindy's reaction. That was the saddest part.
Yeah.
Was Mindy... Like, she's heartbroken. I wasn't necessarily heartbroken by it.
I was sad, but I mean...
And you knew one of them had to die.
Yeah,
and I would have rather be Annika.
Across a ladder, one of them's gonna die.
And of course, we think Quinn's dead too, so we've lost a lot of our new characters already.
Yeah, we talked about bigger, better, higher body count,
Yeah, brutal.
So, right after we do the whole therapist thing, not only do we get Red Right Hand, we get Red Right Hand leading into a meta discussion amongst friends. And that is just what this franchise is about.
Yep.
That's so good.
We get it twice in this movie, just FYI. I'm happy. I'm happy.
I loved it.
So, of course, we go into... And this is another... kind of felt like New York to me moment when they're sitting on the benches outside having the discussion. Just that, like, outside area felt very city to me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they're having their little meta discussion. Mindy's mad at herself because she didn't call the killer last time. I was too.
Yeah.
So yeah, she is kind of laying out the suspects. Our new people, well, obviously Quinn and Annika were on the suspect list. They're dead now. Ethan is our other newcomer. He is roommate with Chad.
He's a virgin.
Yes, he's
loser.
a virgin.
He looks like Troye Sivan.
He does.
Yes. He's like 85 pounds and just
a little nerd. Yeah.
Just skeletal.
So obviously at the bodega killing, I don't know if we mentioned, they found Charlie Walker's mask. Or was it Jill's? No, I think it was Charlie's.
I think it was Charlie's. Yeah.
I think so.
So then at this therapist's death, Detective Bailey, who is actually Quinn's dad,
played by Dermot Mulroney.
Yes. Love him.
He's so good.
He brings the mask to Kirby and is like, guess who this belongs to? Roman Bridger. And so then Kirby kind of sets all this up on a whiteboard and goes through it. Here are the Ghostface killers that we've had, kind of goes through the whole thing, and he's like, but I thought the movie, she's like, fuck the movies, because he's talking about Stab.
Yeah.
And so we get that just so much meta.
And at that point, too, like, when Kirby walks out of the room, he makes this comment, like, he picks up his phone, and he's like, give me all the information you can about Agent Kirby. And so we're like, and I looked at Casey, and I was like,
here's what I'll say, second time through. He is not on the phone. He speaks to someone off screen that it never cuts to.
Oh.
Do you think his crazy ass was just talking to himself?
Probably.
Because it just stays on his face and he looks off screen and goes, hey, look up what you can, blah, 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 blah. And then it just cuts away.
Yeah. Never
cuts to the other person. I don't think he looked shit up, because we find out later he didn't look shit up.
Right.
Because then later on he's like, Kirby's crazy! Turns out, well, he's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll admit, like, not my first guess was Kirby, but I was really like, it has to be someone that we know.
And later on when he's like, Kirby's crazy, it's her, and everyone thinks it's her, I was fully convinced.
Yeah.
But, to be fair, I thought it was the detective in the start.
Yeah.
I was like, there's something with this guy. But then his daughter dies, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's not, because why would he kill his own daughter? Like, he looked devastated.
Mm-hmm.
The man acts his fucking ass off.
Mm-hmm.
He really does. We're
bouncing around a lot, but I just fucking love this.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this movie. I love talking about it.
I do too.
Mm-hmm.
I was convinced that for a while that it was Kirby Reed, but because they did such a good job making her the red herring for a few minutes, but selfishly, I wanted it to be Gale.
I literally wanted it to be Gale in the last one, and I wanted it to be Gale in this one.
And they mentioned that in this one.
Mm-hmm.
When Ghostface is on the phone with her later, he says, "You would have made such a good killer, Gale."
It's the first time we spoke on the phone.
Which is insane. I can't believe I hadn't realized.
Yeah, because they come close in Scream 2. Randy picks up Gale's cell phone.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then is on her phone when he gets murdered. Gale almost answered the phone, but she was letting it ring.
As soon as he said that in this one, when she answered it, I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
I hadn't realized
that. We never had a Gale Ghostface conversation, and it was brilliant.
Yeah,
it
truly
was so good. I think this marks the first time in the canon that someone has hung up on... Well, no. Sydney hung up on Ghostface.
In 5.
I'm bored. Click.
Yeah.
But this is the first time someone has put him on hold and called his ass back.
Right.
That was fucking
And it's
hilarious.
so funny because she says, "Can you hold, please?" And you can hear him go, "What?" And
right before she hangs up. It's so good.
Fucking funny. This movie...
It was very funny.
It's so smart. It's so funny.
One of my favorite lines that got a genuine laugh out of me both times I saw this was when Kirby comes up and she says something about being in the FBI, and Gale goes, "You look like a zygote." She's like, "You're a baby."
She's like, "I'm 30.
I'm 30.
She's like, "No, you're a zygote." Which is me talking to anyone under 30. Like, everyone at work. They're like, "I'm
sorry
20.
we're so young and full of life."
No, I know, but I work with 24-year-olds, and I'm like,
dude, I work with a lot of 20-year-olds.
I'm the youngest person at my job.
I don't remember asking.
I'm the youngest person who lives in this house.
Shut up.
Anyways.
So then we get to what is possibly, other than Stu Macher's farmhouse, the greatest set piece of the franchise. Debate me.
The shrine?
Yeah.
The fucking shrine.
I fucking loved it. I was like, I think we all were like, can we go there?
I want to live
Can
here.
we live there?
I was like,
I could watch it 100 times and still find new things.
It's in this old gorgeous theater, like with a balcony, and like everywhere you look there is like courtroom sketches and like articles of things from Ghostface past.
All the knives, all the masks, like
these
Billy's
suits.
t-shirts, Stu's smoking
robe,
jacket.
yeah.
I mean,
they had they had all the mannequins with like the masks and shit on the stage. Like, it was so eerie. And then fucking Billy's was in this glass box. Oh, it was as a horror fan, as a Scream franchise fan, like, it was fucking tight.
Everything.
It was so cool.
They had,
it had Randy's shirt. It had all of Gale's books.
Debbie Salt's white pantsuit from the finale, Bloodstained, from Scream 2.
Yep, you would notice that.
The TV that landed on Stu Macher's head.
That's important to know.
The very first, or one of the phones that Casey Becker picks up, because it's half burned from the fire. Oh man, so good. And they mention, and this makes me have some thoughts about 7. They see the TV, and it's not Kirby. It's Kirby that sees the TV, and then it's Mindy that says, "Yeah, if you believe he's dead."
Yeah. And also,
I literally was like, "What?"
I think I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
Say.
When Kirby has her crazy FBI whiteboard situation connecting all the killers to the current killings, they have like a time of death or a place of death. They're like, you can see the dates. It's like Debbie Salt, born in 1957, died in 1997, that sort of thing. But next to Stu Macher's picture, it's just a post-it with a big question mark.
I didn't notice that.
For his date of death, yeah. So, here's the thing. I want to believe that Stu Macher is alive and he's going to come back, because Matthew Lillard is Bay, and it would be the ultimate WTF moment for diehard fans. But, like, TVs in the 90s were so heavy.
So heavy. And, I mean,
it was like two
spoiler alert, it kills someone in this one.
That's what, in that same TV. Which
TV.
is
what I was actually going to say is I read something where someone was interviewing the Radio Silence guys and asked about Jill Walker, and their response was, well, anybody can come back. And I was like, okay, I don't know how I'd feel about her coming back.
Right. I mean, she
got shot in the head, right? The heart.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And also electrocuted.
That's
not that mattered because she still came back.
Yeah.
She still came back to get shot.
They always do.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there was...
I hope it's Stu Macher, if it's anyone.
If there's any killer who could have possibly survived, it would be Stu Macher. But I did a deep dive into the whole canon after we saw 6. And an article I read basically said what we said earlier, that, like, for all intents and purposes, like, this was a loose remake of Scream 2. And I didn't know this, but in the original script for Scream 2, at the very end, the camera pans and follows Sidney Prescott as she's walking away from Cotton, who's surrounded by press. And then they do that, like, slow pull away where they do an aerial shot of her walking through the courtyard at Windsor College while She Said by Collective Soul plays in the background. And Scream 2 has the best soundtrack, fucking fight me. But apparently in the original script, right before it cuts to black, the camera was going to pan over to a bell tower on the campus, and standing in the bell tower was going to be the new Ghostface watching Sydney. And that was alluding to Roman Bridger, who's been watching her the whole time. And honestly, I know we talked about it last time, and we fucking hate the retcon.
It has its moments.
In Scream 3, but if you watch the original Scream and you think about where Billy and Stu are at all times, it fully makes sense that there would be a third one, because the third one could have been the one stalking them at the grocery store, and the third one could have been the one in the woods outside Tatum's house when school gets canceled. Like, it actually does make sense. I still kind of hate it.
Yeah.
Because, like...
But it's a retcon you can go back and not have to close your eyes to believe.
Yeah, it doesn't make me groan the way it used to, but at the end of the day, the killer in Scream 3 was on Felicity. And I just can't reconcile that. I just can't, you guys.
Okay, we need to talk about Gail's scene.
Also, they played the Dewey music earlier, and we all cried, I think.
Yeah, Dewey's motif plays, and I cried.
Marco Beltrami. I looked over at Casey.
Sobbed.
Casey was sobbing. I was like,
she's not okay. I wasn't okay.
They start talking about him, and then it plays in the background.
Oh, God, chill.
It was one of those immediate... it wasn't like a tear. It was like a...
Jeez.
Yes.
I was like...
Jeff immediately hands me a tissue.
Yep. I was like,
I mean,
not okay.
It hit us all hard, but not nearly as hard as Casey. And I remember when it happened, I like kind of turned to Robert and I was like, "Oh my God, Casey's not okay right now." I could just I didn't even have to look at you.
I was not okay.
I was like, "She's a fucking mess."
I cried my heart out.
So sad.
Another scene I was a mess for, and I know all three of us was. So in the theater, it was Jeff, me, Jess, Zach, Robert, Taylor. Throughout the entirety of Gail's scene, from the time she gets on the phone until the time it cuts away, I have Jess's arm and we are squeezing each other.
And I had my hand
Jess was digging her nails into my kneecap because I'm sitting like this. because
And we are-
that's my safe pose.
And
So
my
I'm
safe pose is
like-
me
I'm
digging
like-
into your knees, so
I'm
let
like,
me have
nothing
it.
can get me. And no, it was fine, but you put your hand on my knee so hard, and then I held your hand,
Yeah.
and then you're holding onto her.
And I was down here
I
watching
know,
it.
we
I
were
was
all
like,
slowly sliding out of our seats because we
Not
were so
okay.
tense.
Oh my
I
God.
like,
Oh man.
I was like
Okay,
hyperventilating, I
Scream
think.
5 killed Dewey. The whole
Exactly.
theater is like,
Hot
oh my God,
Yeah.
Gail's about to die.
Like they alluded to it in the preview, but like actually seeing this scene and how
Because it's just her alone.
God.
Well,
And it was, we've always had to in this franchise, forget how strong a person is in retrospect,
mhm.
because the killer of Gail's enormously muscled, beautiful boyfriend is Quinn. Spoiler alert, she's one of the killers in the end.
She wasn't dead.
How? But we've had to do that a lot in this franchise, because we've
Well,
had, I mean,
we
how
have to suspend
how
our
did Amber
disbelief.
kill Dewey? How did Jill kill anybody?
Yeah, right.
Or Charlie, for that matter. They're both
Yeah.
so tiny. But,
And dweeby.
yeah, and they're both, like, 17.
Mhm.
But, so that doesn't bother me as much. But, yeah, this entire scene, we're like, she's by herself. It's just Gail and Ghostface. This is the 6th movie that she's been in. We already killed off one legacy. The other legacy is not in the movie, so we can't kill her off. And Gail is so smart. Gail is so fucking smart. She
She
finds
really
her
is.
gun.
Mhm.
She starts shooting through the door. She does not take shit for a single second. And then, as smart as Sydney is to hang up on him in the 5th one, like we said, she says, "Can you hold, please?" And then calls him back. Here's the phone, turns around and shoots.
Mhm.
Wow.
It was fucking hilarious.
It was.
She star 69 his ass.
Mhm. And we.
Can you hold, please?
Yeah, the Gale scene was my words.
Yeah.
You know?
It
Like,
really,
I'm
I feel
trying.
that way, though. It was...
Just talking about it breaks my brain because it was everything I could have possibly wanted and needed it to be, that scene. And Courtney Cox, she's just next fucking level.
She really
and
is.
the fact that she was the only legacy character in it, and she wasn't in the movie very much, but she
Made an
made the
impact.
most of her time.
Yeah.
And in the 3, maybe 4 scenes she's in, they're the best scenes of the entire movie because it's Gail fucking
Yeah.
Weathers. But
This chase scene.
that
This
chase
is one
scene,
of the best
God.
chase scenes
I
of the
mean,
entire...
it
It's
went-
one apartment.
it went across the and
And her
because
apartment's
she's
gorgeous.
loaded. Well, she's loaded, but by
It's
this
a huge
point,
New York apartment.
yeah, she's on like a
penthouse.
yeah,
With
she's
a
like
gorgeous
on a
balcony.
nationally televised
But that's the thing.
show in this, so she's rich as fuck.
One of people's complaints about 5, and something even though I love it, I would complain about, there are not enough chase scenes, not any
Mhm.
really good ones. This one is our legacy character that we're really afraid is going to die. They go through one part of her apartment, they go out onto the balcony, come back in,
Yeah,
go into her little safe room, come out of the safe room, back into the living room, and there's like pillars like
Yeah.
to hide behind. Like, it's such a good set piece.
and the editing in that scene is spectacular
Yes.
because they take you. I don't know how many cuts they ended up doing to
Yeah.
make that scene happen, but it felt like one dolly
it really
on a
did.
continuous take.
It
Like
did.
they
you could
took
feel
you.
where everything was.
Yeah, and they shot it so close up. They did such a good job of raising the tension. They had the music, the tense music, like just loud enough.
Yep.
And when Homegirl hit him with the cast iron skillet, I was like, woo! Because
And then
I've had one fall on my toe.
and then we're all thinking,
Right.
okay, oh my god. We're all thinking, okay, she's got him down. She steps on his hand, grabs the knife, and then he takes a piece of glass, and
Ugh.
I felt it.
Yeah, we all kind of grabbed our sides.
Yeah, I was
think.
like,
We were just,
Oh no, Gail. Oh no, Gail, you've been... And, of course, right at the last moment, hero moment, Sam and Tara
Sam and Tara.
show up and shoot him away, but of course they don't get Ghostface.
For a moment, like,
Gail lives.
Mhm.
yeah, like for a moment you
Yeah.
think she's dead, but the paramedic comes in immediately and is like,
We've
got a weak pulse, and so
Yeah.
we're like,
I cried then too, but not quite as hard as I don't know, as Dewey's motif.
ugh.
And here's the thing, in this franchise, this is not a franchise that kills people off later or between movies. Typically, like, if you don't die in that moment, you're surviving.
Right.
So even though she like kind of like closed her eyes, I was like, this is not the franchise that kills people in that way.
Right.
Once Ghostface is gone, it kind of almost doesn't even matter how many times you've been stabbed, you're probably gonna live.
Right.
And so and I actually love that about this franchise, as weird as that sounds, because like, you can get stabbed a ton of fucking times in this shit and just live and you're fine, and that's great, because I love keeping these characters around. But it says something to the fact that, like, as soon as Ghostface is gone, the danger's gone. Like, but it also says something more to the fact that when he's on screen, all bets are off. You're fucked.
100%.
Like, unless you are Sidney Prescott or, at this point, Gail Weathers, you're dying. Like,
Yeah.
you are so dead.
Yeah. And I was...
Yes.
After that scene, right before the EMTs come in and take Gail to the emergency room, Gail looks at Sam and very faintly, like very quietly, because she's just been through so much, she can barely get the words out, but she says, "Tell Sydney that he didn't get me."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
Right in the feels.
I cried.
Bitch.
I cried.
Right in the feels.
yeah,
I
I
thought
cried way more
Yeah.
at this than I've only cried once during any Scream, and it was during 5 when Dewey died.
Me
Of course.
too.
And that was because that was like losing a family member at that
Truly.
point.
It felt like it, because
He's
his
everyone's
aura-
surrogate big brother, not just Sydney's.
Yep.
And yeah, I cried like 4 or 5 times throughout this movie,
it was
and sometimes from pure joy.
Yeah.
Like, this movie was what I wanted Scream 5 to be,
Fair.
by way of
100%.
like fan service.
They
like,
took the things that
fear.
they didn't quite get in 5
Yeah.
and made it better.
They got close a lot in
Uh-huh.
5, and
Fair.
then 6 they fucking fine-tuned it.
It
And-
is a fucking Scream movie.
Yeah, and it's precise. Like, you're right, the therapist was a little extraneous, but I feel like
We got a
Ghostface
good
had...
kill out of it.
Well, Ghostface, we got a good kill, and Ghostface, technically, he had the motive to kill
Yeah.
the therapist
Oh,
so
yeah.
that he could get Sam's file. That makes sense.
And
but-
they want to frame her
Yeah.
in the end anyway.
And
Yeah.
she had a bad experience with her therapist. Her file
And
is
they-
missing. Wouldn't
So-
it make sense that it
Exactly,
was
yes.
her?
Yeah.
So we need to get to the ending, but before we do, we'll talk about Mindy's train scene really quick. I was pretty sure she was going to die, but luckily she didn't. Here is what I wrote down for who I saw on the train.
Oh, yeah. Spill.
I found Pinhead, Babadook, Freddy, Chucky, Michael, The Tethered, The Grady Girls, A Red Balloon, that one show with Elizabeth Moss where they're all wearing
The Handmaid's Tale.
The Handmaid's Tale, The Midsommar Girl, Jason, and Billy the Puppet.
Ooh.
That's amazing.
And that's
Do you-
just what I saw on the second time through that I could write down as quickly
Do you
as
know
possible.
who I noticed that you didn't list?
Who?
Grace, Samara Weaving's character in Ready or Not.
Shut up.
Yeah, because you only see her from the back.
But it's like
So
a
there's
bloody-
someone in a ripped white wedding dress
Uh-huh.
with
Oh.
like the I don't go shooting, but whatever that little
the
that little
rifle type
sash,
thing, yeah.
the little sash
with
with
the
the shotgun
bullets?
shells,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
a little
so
tilted
cool.
to the side, little matching hat.
And I noticed that many, and I still missed that.
Yeah, Grace was the one that I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
I was just staring at the Babadook because I was just that.
I know,
I was
and the way he was
infatuated.
standing in the back, and I was like, "That's me."
I
was
was like
like this.
swore Yuzu was on that train, but I was like, oh, it's just the bad
That
one.
no,
Oh
I
my
was like,
God,
that
it
is
was like Yuzu.
that's me on the way to the Halloween party at the very back of a subway car, just dissociating, dressed as the Babadook. Like that's
And the
my
costume
that's
was
my
great.
story.
It was so good. I was like, "You're freaky. I'm more scared of you than Ghostface."
But they they looked. I'm sorry,
It's
I can't
okay.
speak. They looked like actual costumes.
They were
did-
good costumes.
Yes,
yeah.
they looked like good.
But
costumes.
they didn't look like they were professionally made by a studio.
They looked like college student
Yes.
costumes.
Yes,
Like
yes.
they would put the effort into it, but they also wouldn't have a ton of money.
Yeah, they
But-
wouldn't have perfect.
But I feel like it's very
edges
accurate because, like, especially college parties, a lot of them are very specific costumes. A lot of people don't go as generic things.
Right.
You go as a very specific movie character, book character, something
Mhm.
that people go, oh, I know what you are.
Mhm.
Well-
One of the college parties that I went to, best, and I'm pretty sure I'm still friends with this person on Facebook, but I can't remember your name. I doubt you watch this podcast. You dressed up as old Greg for one of the frat parties I went to, and it was the greatest costume I've ever seen in my life. I will post it on the Instagram. I still have a picture of it.
This is a picture of Bailey's. This is a picture of Bailey's, but closer. This is as close as you can get to Bailey's without getting your eyes wet. Would you like
Anyway.
to see my downstairs mixed up?
We're gonna get to the end. I can't do this.
What are you doing in my waters?
I can't stand
God
you.
damn it. Okay.
Do you love me?
We're gonna get to the end.
Could you learn to love me? Make an assessment. I'm done.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you. Not cutting any of that out.
Good. I love
Um,
Greg.
So we get to the ending. We have 3 killers. There are 3 killers.
And they turned, essentially, the whole point of bringing them back to the shrine is
Mhm.
that it is a trap. It's like a box that
Yeah.
has one entrance, one exit. And so now they're in there. They're like, we're going to trap Ghostface in here and kill him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they make you think, this is the point where they're like, the detective is there and he's like, I looked up Kirby's file. Like,
She's crazy.
She doesn't even work for the FBI anymore. She's fucking lost
And he's
it.
like, no. And Kirby comes up and she's like, no, seriously, don't listen to him.
And we have Randy and Billy kind of back and forth.
Very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
And then Ghostface runs up in the background. And then the detective shoots Kirby.
Mhm.
Because, of course, Detective Bailey is one of our ghost faces. And we get the one that was in costume that ran up to him. And then he looks over to the side and we get our third.
Mhm.
And I lost my shit because I have been waiting for 3 ghost faces.
Mhm.
Oh.
And it was really satisfying that it was Dermot Mulroney out of costume.
Yes.
And he's like kind of controlling the ghost faces.
Yeah,
Like,
he's the
he's
mastermind.
He's the puppet
the
master,
puppet
for
master.
sure.
And
yeah.
the way he's like flanked with them behind him, it
Mhm.
just
And
it was,
with both of them in costume, it's a very, very cool image.
Mhm.
So the son pulls his mask off. It's been
Ethan?
Ethan.
Yes.
That little
Yeah.
dork virgin.
Yeah, who's
That's like an
Never
80,
trust a virgin.
80-pound twink committing these vicious murders.
and then
that
the other
old
one
story.
is, of course, Quinn. She pulls her mask off and she goes surprised, and Tara's like, "Yeah, because you died."
Yeah.
But
Right.
I didn't.
But I didn't.
And yeah, it's another one of those. She was the first of the friend group to die because she's the slutty one.
Mhm.
But then they subvert that slasher trope by she wasn't the first kill.
Yeah.
That was a fake out. She's the murderer.
Yeah.
And she almost killed Gail.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Whew.
So, it's just
It just gets balls to the wall crazy.
I wrote such a scream
immediately.
ending.
Yeah.
So this shrine, we learned this shrine was Richie's from 5. This is his dad and his 2 siblings who are avenging Richie's death.
Even though he was a piece of shit fucking serial killer.
Oh my god, at one point, Tara was like, yeah, good fucking parenting. And they're like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Because he's upset. They, of course, think they're trying to frame Tara because they think Tara did all these other murders.
Sam.
No, they want to frame Sam. Yes, sorry.
You're
they
fine.
want to frame Sam because she stabbed Richie 22 times.
So they made up the internet
And
rumors.
slit his throat.
And slit his throat.
Can't forget that.
And she says he cried like a little bitch.
This was the moment where it really became a remake of Scream 2 for me.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
I was
because
like,
it's
the killer is the parent of the killer from the last movie.
going after the person who killed
Mhm.
their child.
Mhm.
Yes, this is when, and that's why this ending felt really satisfying to me. Like, the killer reveal, I was like, fuck yeah, dude, this just makes sense. This
Mhm.
just feels like this franchise. And not in the, again, like, no, because I didn't call it up till then, because it wasn't, oh, this is Richie's family, and they're, like, kind of on the outskirts of the film.
Yeah.
You didn't know, so you had no
Right.
idea, but then they reveal...
And then it starts to make sense that when Sam got the call from Richie's cell phone that it was Richie's dad still paying his phone bill.
Yeah.
Like, that actually did make sense.
And also Richie's dad being the detective,
Yeah.
having access to all of the evidence and things like that, which would make sense as to...
They were able to switch out Quinn's body. And he even says they'll give a grieving father, a lot of room, and he was able to switch the body out, so it looked like Quinn was dead. And we get a shootout. At one point, Tara's hanging from the balcony.
Chad gets stabbed a bunch. I thought Chad was done
so
for.
many times.
After him and Tara kiss.
Yeah, and he saves Tara, and then, we think he's super dead.
But right after he gets stabbed repeatedly by both Ghostfaces, or 2 of the 3, Ethan and Quinn, there's this moment that was probably my favorite visual moment of the entire movie, where both of them in the Ghostface costume turn to Tara and Sam, and at the exact same time, they both clean the blood off their knives.
Ah, that was so good.
I loved it.
We're all friends here. My dick got hard.
Yes.
It did something
one.
to me. Oh my god.
We were all like...
At the exact same time. Oh, are you fucking kidding me?
I forgot about that part. That was so good.
So good. So Tara ends up stabbing Ethan, and this was one
So
of the
good.
last
Ooh, I forgot
little
about
horror
this.
Easter eggs that I think I saw. At least I think it's a little nod. She stabs the hell out of him. She stabs him in the fucking mouth and then twists. She's got all this blood all over her face, and then she starts laughing and crying. Kind of like Sally at the end of Texas Chainsaw.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just kind of that like... and she's like laughing, and she's like kind of going crazy a little. And I'm like, okay, Sally.
Yeah, it was definitely giving Sally Hardesty 100%.
Okay, I'm glad I wasn't the only one.
Okay, no, I got that. And the way that she stabbed him in the fucking mouth, just like they just kept one-upping themselves.
And then she had such a Jess line. I don't know why, but it felt so Jess when she stabs him right before she twists it. Do you know what she says?
I don't remember.
You're gonna die a fucking virgin.
Yeah.
It feels so Jess.
I would have said the same thing.
Yes.
Fucking loser.
She did mention that earlier. Okay, so we get our Sam kill, not Sam dying, but Sam killing Detective Bailey. And my second time around, I tried to count the stabs, and at least 34 plus the eye stab. So more than she stabbed Richie. Yeah. I counted 34, there might be more. Ooh. I counted 34.
Yeah. So
that's incredible.
I remember she had stabbed him so many times, but none of them were lethal stabs. Like,
because he's also got a vest on, because he's a detective.
Yeah, he's got a bulletproof vest, and also, like, she was stabbing him, kind of like not to kill him, but to like stab him.
Like all over.
Like just to give him these like little flesh wounds. Like,
she wanted to
jabs.
inflict
it's like when you're gonna, like,
pain.
marinate a chicken overnight. That's how she was stabbing him.
Or a good prison shanking.
Yeah, well...
I think I'm the only one here that's been to jail. Oh, okay. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Don't look it up. Don't look up my records.
Well, I've been handcuffed. Anyway.
I said move on.
So after she stabs him, no less than 34 times, he's begging for mercy like a little fucking bitch.
She's like, I'm better than that. My dad was a serial killer. I'm not. And he goes, thank you. And Tara just goes...
You sure? Like, you sure, bitch? You're really just gonna, like, let him live? And she's like, but on the other hand, you don't fuck with family.
You don't fuck with my family.
And she stabs him in the eye. Which, like, 3 kills we've never gotten in the entire canon, we got in this one movie. Someone got stabbed in the eye, someone got stabbed through the nose, and someone got stabbed in the mouth. We got someone stabbed in the ear in Scream 2. But now I'm like, they have officially covered every face orifice.
And honestly, like, the mouth stab and the nose stab are good contenders for Golden Chainsaw. But there is something about the way Annika hits that dumpster on the way down. Because Ghostface, I don't know if we mentioned this, he doesn't stab her. She's on the ladder and he's like bucking it until she falls. And
hits her face on a dumpster.
There is something about the way it looks and that smack on the dumpster that I was like... Have you ever had a falling death?
Sarah Michelle Gellar in Scream 2 off the balcony.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that is true.
I think that's it. That's the only one that's dealt with heights.
Yeah. Well, in 4, the assistant, I think she was probably dead before that. But
he stabbed her and then he threw her onto the newsstand.
I want to say she was probably dead up on the roof before he threw her, but he did throw her off the roof of the hospital.
How did Quinn die again? Did they shoot her in the face?
Yes.
It was up in the balcony.
Yeah. Sam shoots her in the face. And this is something I only noticed the second time I watched it. Tara hits her with something in the face really hard and a bunch of her teeth are on the floor. You can see little bits of her teeth.
I didn't see that.
And then when she comes, that's when they're all downstairs.
When she smiled and her mouth was all bloody. That's why. That makes sense.
So her teeth are on the floor. She comes upstairs and when her and Sam are about to face off, she spits out another tooth.
Yep. And
then, Sam shoots her in the face. She goes to shoot the detective out of bullets. That's how we end up with our ending. Red Right Hand plays again. Kirby ends up... Because somehow Ethan isn't dead after being stabbed in the back of the throat. And Kirby kills him with the TV. She says, I saw that in a scary movie once. It just... I love... And Chad ends up being alive. Mindy runs into the scene. She's like, they give me so much drugs. Can't feel anything below my neck.
Honestly...
I love her.
One thing I wrote as a con... when I took notes after I got home that I've completely changed my mind on is I wrote down that I kind of didn't like that all of the core 4 survived. I felt like at least one of them should have gone. And I genuinely...
Especially since we kept Gail.
Yeah. I was like, because that was our qualm with Scream 5, that, like, not enough people died. Yep. There were so many survivors from that cast. I mean, the body count was still very high.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, like...
nobody we cared about.
None of the core 4 lived, Gail lived.
We were sad about Amber,
lived.
but Amber had to go because she was Ghostface.
She was one of the killers. Right. Yeah. Just because I love Mikey Madison, but, like, she had to go. So,
But I agree. I am happy... in a way that they lived because I would love to see them all in 7.
Yes.
I would be really sad for Tara if she lost Chad because they had just kind of gotten together. So, it's just good all around. We've said a million things. We could say a million more.
Yeah.
Go see it.
It was
cute little stinger at the very, very end.
Oh yeah. Stay for the post-credit scenes for sure.
Yeah. This is the first time we've ever had a post-credit scene in a Scream movie, and it's literally Mindy going, "Not everything needs a freaking stinger scene."
Yeah.
And that was it. We were all like, there were like maybe 10 of us left in the theater. Because there's us and then a
couple
of people
in front of us who wore their Ghostface shirts.
And we
knew
all
they
were
weren't
just
going
like,
anywhere. Yeah, and then Mindy says, not every movie has to have a post-credit scene, and we all just lost it.
It was like 5 seconds long, and I was like,
so
perfect.
funny.
And
it was so perfectly done.
So perfect for this fucking... If it was anything else, it might not have been as good.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I was watching it genuinely thinking they were going to allude to what was going to be the very beginning of Scream 7.
Yeah.
Because I've seen at least 20 Marvel movies, none of them consensually, all against my will.
They are all king of the stinkers.
Yes, and so Robert and I will go see them in the theater, and it's like, I have already sat still for 2 hours and 45 minutes, and I've had to pee this entire time, and now I have to wait through the longest credits in the free world for one 30-second scene. So I'm really glad that they did that, and then just turned around and just...
I was like, no, not everything needs a stinger.
Just talked shit. Yeah.
Lights come on.
Talked shit about it.
Basically called us out for continuing to sit there for the next 4 minutes while the credits rolled, just so we could see that, and then called us out, and it was like, okay, I'm sorry.
I was like,
that
ouch,
was
good. So
ouch,
good.
though.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fantastic. I really... I only had a couple cons, and they were trivial. I mean, if we're being real and we're being fair and balanced, there are a lot of plot holes that you just have to overlook. You have to suspend your disbelief. Like when Sam and Tara triangulate the phone call and find out where Ghostface is, and they somehow know that it's exactly Gail's apartment.
Yeah, up on 96th. Oh, yeah. Gail.
And then it's like, are we supposed to believe that they're in Central Park? Because if that is the case, then they might be close enough to get to Gail in time. But if it's like
there are some things
Woodrow Wilson Park and like Flatbush, they're not
which is another
getting
reason
to the Upper West Side in time.
Which is another reason it doesn't feel New York, because they can just get places. But that's like something you just have to overlook for plot purposes.
Yeah,
to make it
you
easier.
have to. And they do take you on a ride.
Car.
Yeah.
And honestly, I liked it so much that I was trying to rack my brain for things I didn't like.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Instead of the other way around, because when I saw 5, once I had time to like ruminate, I thought, oh, I don't think I really liked it that much. But that was mostly because so much focus was on Sam.
Yeah.
And before her character development between 5 and 6, Sam was intolerable.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but Trauma looks good on her. Like,
Yeah.
Trauma does a body good, girl. Like, she's sexier, she's funnier, she's savage, she has 0 fucks left to give, she's fiercely protective of her sister and her friends. Like, she is a down-ass hoe, and she's what was missing from 5.
I agree.
So I feel like if she keeps on this trajectory, by the time 7 rolls around, she's going to be just an extraordinary heroine.
Sydney Part 2. Not as good, but we'll take it.
The Coke Zero
yes.
of Sydney Prescott.
Anyway, I am going to cut this right now because I don't know how long this has been going on, but I'm sure it's forever. We could talk about this franchise for the rest of our lives. Go back and watch the other 2. So, but thank you so much for coming on and talking about Scream 6. We will have you on for Scream 7. We're just going to say that right now.
Of course.
And probably before then, too. Wink, wink.
I mean.
So, but in the meantime, requests or comments, concerns, whatever, deeperscreeperspod@gmail.com. Like and subscribe on the YouTube channel, and then follow us on Insta and Twitter @deeperscreepers. And until next week,
Stay spooky. Bye.